Never reheat these four foods. Cancer doctor explains why. Before we dive in, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever cooked a healthy meal, placed the leftovers in the refrigerator, and then reheated them the next day without giving it a second thought? If your answer is yes, you're certainly not alone. Millions of people around the world do exactly the same thing every single day. We believe we're making smart choices by avoiding food waste, saving time, and sticking to nutritious meals. But what if one of those everyday habits wasn't as harmless as it seems? Today, we're going to explore a topic that has surprised researchers, nutrition experts, and even many healthcare professionals. Some commonly reheated foods can undergo chemical changes that may reduce their nutritional value or create compounds linked to long term health concerns. These changes don't happen because the food is bad. They happen because heat, oxygen, storage time, and certain natural components inside food interact in ways that most people never learn about. This isn't about creating fear or convincing you to throw away every leftover in your refrigerator. It's about understanding the science behind food so you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. By the end of this video, you'll know which foods deserve extra caution when reheated and how to store and prepare them more safely. The foods we'll discuss are among the healthiest and most commonly eaten around the world. They include cooked rice, chicken, leafy green vegetables like spinach, and eggs. Ironically, these are foods many people choose specifically because they're trying to live healthier lives. Yet, under certain conditions, reheating them may trigger chemical reactions that deserve our attention. Before we examine each food individually, it's important to understand what actually happens inside food after it's cooked and then heated again. When food is cooked for the first time, heat changes its structure in predictable ways. Proteins unfold, starches soften, fats melt, and many harmful microorganisms are destroyed. These are beneficial changes that make food safer and easier to digest. However, once that cooked food is stored in the refrigerator, a completely different process begins. Oxygen slowly reacts with fats and proteins, moisture changes, natural enzymes continue working. In some foods, harmless bacteria already present begin converting naturally occurring compounds into entirely different substances. When the food is heated a second time, those already altered molecules can undergo additional reactions. Depending on the type of food, this may increase oxidation, create new chemical byproducts, or encourage the formation of compounds scientists continue studying for their possible role in chronic disease. Three scientific processes are especially important to understand. The first is oxidation. Think of oxidation as a slow form of damage caused by oxygen. It affects fats, proteins, and even some vitamins. During refrigeration, oxygen gradually weakens these molecules. When high heat is applied again, they can break apart into smaller compounds capable of increasing oxidative stress inside the body. The second process is known as the Maillard reaction. Normally, this reaction gives roasted foods their delicious flavor and golden brown appearance. It's what makes toasted bread smell amazing, or grilled chicken taste rich and savory. But repeated heating can push this reaction further than intended, producing compounds called advanced glycation end products, often shortened to AGEs. Researchers have found that excessive AGEs may contribute to chronic inflammation, accelerated aging, and several long term diseases. While our bodies can handle some exposure, repeatedly overheating certain foods increases the amount we're exposed to. The third process involves nitrates and nitrites. Some vegetables naturally contain large amounts of nitrates. These compounds are not harmful by themselves. In fact, they can support healthy blood pressure and improve blood vessel function. But after cooking and storage, naturally occurring bacteria may convert nitrates into nitrites. When those foods are reheated, additional chemical reactions may occur, potentially producing substances called nitrosamines. Scientists have studied nitrosamines for decades because high levels of exposure have been associated with increased cancer risk in both laboratory and population studies. Keep these three ideas in mind: oxidation, advanced glycation, and nitrosamine formation, because you'll see them appear repeatedly throughout this video. Now let's begin with the first food on our list. Food number one, cooked rice. Rice feeds more people than any other food on earth. For billions of people, it's part of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Leftover rice is incredibly common because it's easy to cook in large batches and convenient to reheat. Unfortunately, rice also presents one of the most misunderstood food safety issues. The problem doesn't usually begin when you reheat the rice. It starts much earlier, during the period between cooking and refrigeration. Raw rice naturally contains spores from a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores are surprisingly resistant to heat, meaning some can survive the initial cooking process. If cooked rice sits at room temperature for several hours, those surviving spores can become active and multiply rapidly. As they grow, they produce toxins. Here's the important part. Even if you later microwave or reheat the rice until it's steaming hot, the heat may destroy the bacteria, but many of the toxins they've already produced remain intact. That's why food safety experts consistently recommend cooling rice quickly after cooking instead of leaving it on the kitchen counter. Beyond bacterial toxins, scientists are also interested in another issue involving repeatedly heated starchy foods. When starch rich foods are exposed to very high temperatures multiple times, they can produce larger amounts of a compound called acrylamide. Acrylamide forms when natural sugars react with an amino acid called asparagine during intense heating. This reaction is most common in foods that become brown, toasted, or crispy. International health organizations classify acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen based on evidence from laboratory studies. While normal dietary exposure remains an area of ongoing research, experts generally agree that minimizing unnecessary exposure is a sensible approach. Does this mean you should never eat leftover rice again? Not at all. The goal isn't to avoid rice, it's to handle it correctly. As soon as rice is cooked, allow it to cool quickly rather than leaving it out for long periods. Divide large portions into shallow containers so heat escapes faster. Refrigerate it promptly, ideally within 1 hour if possible. When you're ready to eat it again, reheat only the portion you need until it's thoroughly hot. Avoid repeatedly warming the same batch throughout the day, and try not to keep cooked rice in the refrigerator for several days before eating it. Good food handling practices dramatically reduce bacterial growth and help preserve quality. Many people prepare an entire week's worth of rice in one container, reheating it over and over as meals are needed. While convenient, that repeated cycle of cooling and reheating isn't the safest approach. Instead, divide freshly cooked rice into individual meal portions before refrigerating. That way, each serving only needs to be reheated once. It's a small habit that can make a meaningful difference. And remember, the message isn't that rice is unhealthy. Rice remains one of the world's most important staple foods. The concern lies in how it's stored and reheated after cooking. In the next part, we'll discuss one of the most popular high protein foods on the planet, chicken. We'll explore why repeated high temperature reheating may increase the formation of compounds that interact with our DNA, and then we'll move on to spinach and other leafy greens, where one of the healthiest vegetables can undergo surprising chemical changes after refrigeration. Now that we've talked about rice and why proper storage matters just as much as reheating, let's move on to another food that millions of people prepare every single week. If you're trying to lose weight, build muscle, or simply eat healthier, chances are chicken is already a regular part of your diet. It's one of the world's most popular lean protein sources. Doctors recommend it. Dietitians include it in healthy meal plans. Athletes rely on it to meet their protein goals. Meal prep enthusiasts often cook several days' worth of chicken in advance, store it in containers, and reheat it whenever they're ready to eat. At first glance, that seems like the perfect healthy habit. But when cooked chicken is repeatedly exposed to high temperatures, especially during microwave reheating or prolonged cooking, the chemistry inside the meat begins to change. Let's explore why. Proteins are made from long chains of amino acids folded into precise three-dimensional structures. During the first cooking process, these proteins naturally unfold, making them easier for your body to digest. However, when cooked chicken is cooled, stored, and then heated again at high temperatures, another process begins: protein oxidation. Protein oxidation changes the structure of amino acids and can produce unstable molecules that weren't present immediately after the first cooking. At the same time, certain compounds called heterocyclic amines, often abbreviated as HCAs, may increase when meat proteins are exposed to repeated or excessive heat. HCAs have been studied extensively by scientists for decades. In laboratory experiments, these compounds have shown the ability to damage DNA after being metabolized inside the body. Researchers believe that DNA damage caused by HCAs may contribute to mutations that increase the risk of certain cancers over many years of repeated exposure. It's important to understand that the risk isn't caused by eating reheated chicken once. Rather, scientists are concerned about long term dietary patterns involving frequent exposure to heavily browned or repeatedly overheated meats. Another issue involves fat oxidation. Even though chicken is considered a lean meat, it still contains natural fats. During refrigeration, oxygen slowly reacts with these fats. When the chicken is reheated, especially at high temperatures, those partially oxidized fats continue breaking down into compounds known as lipid oxidation products. Some of these compounds have been associated with increased oxidative stress inside human cells. Oxidative stress occurs when harmful molecules called free radicals outnumber your body's natural antioxidant defenses. Over time, excessive oxidative stress has been linked with inflammation, aging, cardiovascular disease, and several forms of chronic illness. Again, moderation is the key message here. Your body has impressive repair systems that deal with normal exposure to these compounds. Problems arise when unhealthy cooking habits become everyday routines for many years. So, how can you reduce these risks without giving up chicken altogether? Fortunately, the solution is simple. Whenever possible, prepare only the amount you'll eat within the next day or two. Store cooked chicken in airtight containers immediately after it cools. If you need leftovers, try using them cold in salads, sandwiches, wraps, or grain bowls, instead of reheating them repeatedly. If warming is necessary, use gentle heat rather than blasting it in the microwave until it's extremely hot. Avoid cooking chicken until it's dry or overly browned, since excessive heat encourages more oxidation and greater HCA formation. Remember, healthy eating isn't just about choosing nutritious ingredients, it's also about preparing those ingredients in ways that preserve their nutritional quality. Now let's move to perhaps the most surprising food on today's list. Food number three, spinach and other leafy greens. When people think of healthy vegetables, spinach usually sits near the very top of the list. It's packed with vitamins A, C, and K. It's rich in folate, magnesium, iron, and plant antioxidants. Healthcare professionals regularly encourage people to eat more spinach because of its impressive nutritional profile, and they're absolutely right. Fresh spinach, or spinach that's cooked and eaten immediately, is an excellent addition to almost any balanced diet. The concern begins only after it's cooked, refrigerated, and then reheated. To understand why, we first need to talk about nitrates. Spinach naturally contains large amounts of nitrates. Despite what many people believe, nitrates themselves aren't harmful. In fact, they're involved in producing nitric oxide, a molecule that helps relax blood vessels, improve circulation, and support healthy blood pressure. That's one reason leafy green vegetables are often associated with better cardiovascular health. But after cooked spinach sits in the refrigerator, naturally occurring bacteria begin converting some of those nitrates into nitrites. This transformation happens gradually during storage. When the spinach is reheated, those nitrites may participate in additional chemical reactions that can produce compounds called nitrosamines. Nitrosamines have attracted scientific attention for many decades. Numerous laboratory studies have shown that certain nitrosamines can damage DNA and increase cancer risk in experimental models. Because of this evidence, public health organizations continue monitoring dietary exposure to these compounds. It's worth emphasizing that spinach itself is not dangerous. The issue isn't the vegetable. The issue is the combination of cooking, prolonged storage, bacterial conversion, and reheating. This is why fresh spinach remains one of the healthiest vegetables you can eat. The concern only develops under specific conditions. Unfortunately, many health conscious people unknowingly create those exact conditions. Imagine someone preparing a week's worth of sauteed spinach every Sunday. Each day they remove a portion, microwave it, and return the remaining container to the refrigerator. From a convenience standpoint, it makes perfect sense. From a food chemistry standpoint, it's less than ideal. Fortunately, preventing the problem is remarkably easy. Whenever possible, cook only the amount of spinach you'll eat immediately. If you do have leftovers, they're generally better enjoyed cold in salads, wraps, pasta dishes, or smoothies rather than being reheated. Store cooked spinach in airtight containers and consume it as soon as possible. The longer cooked leafy vegetables remain refrigerated, the greater the opportunity for nitrate conversion to occur. Spinach isn't the only vegetable in this category. Several other nitrate rich vegetables deserve similar attention. These include celery, beet greens, Swiss chard, lettuce, and certain other leafy vegetables. All of them naturally contain nitrates that may undergo similar chemical changes after cooking and storage. Again, this doesn't mean you should avoid these incredibly nutritious foods. Quite the opposite. Health experts continue recommending them because their overall benefits far outweigh the potential concerns when handled properly. The takeaway is simply to enjoy them fresh whenever possible and avoid repeatedly reheating cooked portions. By making this small adjustment, you preserve both their nutritional value and minimize unnecessary exposure to unwanted chemical byproducts. So far, we've explored three foods that many people reheat almost every day. Rice showed us the importance of preventing bacterial toxin formation. Chicken demonstrated how repeated heating can increase protein and fat oxidation. Spinach revealed how naturally beneficial nitrates may transform into less desirable compounds during storage and reheating. But the fourth food on our list surprises almost everyone. It's one of the most complete natural foods available. Doctors recommend it, fitness experts praise it, nutritionists call it a superfood. Yet, under certain reheating conditions, it undergoes chemical changes that very few people ever hear about. In the final part of this video, we'll take a closer look at eggs, uncover the science behind cholesterol oxidation and lipid damage, summarize everything you've learned, and finish with simple, practical habits that can help you safely enjoy leftovers without unnecessary risk. If someone asked you to name one of the healthiest foods available, eggs would probably be near the top of your list. And for good reason. Eggs are incredibly nutritious. They provide high-quality protein containing all 9 essential amino acids your body needs. They're rich in vitamins B12 and D, an excellent source of choline for brain function, and contain selenium, lutein, and zeaxanthin, important nutrients that support your immune system, eyesight, and overall health. In short, eggs are nutritional powerhouses. So why would reheating them become a concern? The answer lies in what happens to the fats and cholesterol inside the egg after it has already been cooked once. When eggs are first cooked, the fats naturally undergo mild oxidation. This is a completely normal process and doesn't make eggs unhealthy. However, after the eggs are refrigerated and then heated again, especially using high temperatures or a microwave, the oxidation process speeds up dramatically. Instead of remaining stable, the fats continue breaking down into smaller compounds known as lipid oxidation products. Scientists have spent years studying these compounds because some are capable of increasing oxidative stress inside human cells. But that's only part of the story. Egg yolks naturally contain cholesterol. Contrary to popular myths, cholesterol itself isn't the enemy. In fact, your body requires cholesterol to produce hormones, vitamin D, and healthy cell membranes. The concern begins when cholesterol is repeatedly exposed to high temperatures. During reheating, some cholesterol molecules become oxidized, forming substances known as oxysterols. Oxysterols have become an important topic in nutrition science because research suggests they may contribute to inflammation, damage blood vessels, and interfere with normal cellular function. Several laboratory studies have also shown that certain oxysterols possess genotoxic properties. What does genotoxic mean? It simply means a substance has the potential to damage the genetic material inside cells, your DNA. DNA damage doesn't automatically lead to disease. Our bodies repair damaged DNA every single day. But scientists know that repeated DNA damage over many years increases the likelihood of harmful mutations developing. And that's one reason researchers continue investigating oxidized cholesterol and its role in chronic diseases. Another issue involves egg proteins. When proteins are reheated repeatedly, they can form stronger chemical bonds that make them more difficult for digestive enzymes to break apart. This doesn't mean reheated eggs become poisonous. It simply means they may become harder to digest and lose some of their original nutritional quality. Microwaving scrambled eggs presents another challenge. Microwave ovens don't always heat food evenly. Some areas become extremely hot, while others remain much cooler. Those localized hotspots can accelerate oxidation in small portions of the food, increasing chemical changes without noticeably improving food safety. So, what's the best approach? Fortunately, it's simple. Whenever possible, enjoy eggs shortly after cooking. If you're preparing meals in advance, hard boiled eggs generally store better than scrambled eggs because the shell helps protect them during refrigeration. Many nutrition professionals recommend eating refrigerated hard boiled eggs cold rather than reheating them. If you absolutely need to warm an egg based meal, use gentle heat on the stovetop or in a low temperature oven instead of blasting it in the microwave. Slow, moderate heating places less stress on the fats and proteins inside the egg. Again, this isn't about avoiding eggs, it's about preserving the quality of one of nature's most nutritious foods. Bringing everything together. Let's quickly review the four foods we've discussed today. Number one, rice. The biggest concern isn't simply reheating, it's allowing cooked rice to remain at unsafe temperatures before refrigeration. This gives naturally occurring bacteria an opportunity to multiply and produce toxins that reheating may not completely destroy. Repeated high temperature heating may also encourage the formation of additional undesirable compounds in starchy foods. Number two, chicken repeated exposure to high heat increases protein oxidation and may encourage greater formation of heterocyclic amines and lipid oxidation products. These compounds have been studied extensively because of their potential relationship with DNA damage and chronic disease when consumed frequently over long periods. Number three, spinach and other leafy greens. Fresh spinach is one of the healthiest vegetables available. However, after cooking, refrigeration allows naturally occurring bacteria to convert nitrates into nitrites. Reheating can encourage reactions that form nitrosamines, compounds researchers have investigated for decades because of their possible role in cancer development. Number four, eggs repeated heating accelerates oxidation of fats and cholesterol while altering proteins inside the egg. Although eggs remain highly nutritious, gentle handling helps preserve their nutritional quality and reduces unnecessary oxidation. The bigger picture. After hearing all of this, you might be wondering whether leftovers should be avoided completely. The answer is no. Leftovers can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle. In fact, they help reduce food waste, save money, and make healthy eating much more convenient. The goal isn't to stop reheating food, the goal is to reheat food wisely. Most of the concerns we've discussed depend on several factors happening together: long storage times, improper refrigeration, repeated heating, very high cooking temperatures, poor food handling practices. When those factors are minimized, the risks become much smaller. Think of food safety as a chain. Every good habit strengthens that chain. Cooling food quickly, using airtight containers, keeping refrigerators at the proper temperature, avoiding repeated reheating, cooking only what you need. Each step helps preserve both safety and nutritional quality. Practical tips you can start using today. Let's finish with a few simple habits that can make a real difference. First, prepare realistic meal portions. Cooking enormous batches may seem efficient, but it often leads to leftovers being reheated several times. Instead, cook only what you expect to eat over the next day or two. Second, refrigerate cooked food promptly. Don't allow cooked meals to sit on the kitchen counter for several hours before storing them. Cooling food quickly slows bacterial growth significantly. Third, divide leftovers into smaller containers. This allows food to cool faster and means each portion only needs to be reheated once. Fourth, avoid repeatedly warming the same container throughout the day. Reheat only the amount you plan to eat immediately. Fifth, whenever practical, enjoy certain leftovers cold. Chicken works well in salads. Hard-boiled eggs are excellent cold. Many vegetables taste great in wraps, grain bowls, or pasta salads. Sixth, if reheating is necessary, choose gentle methods whenever possible. Moderate temperatures are generally better than intense heat. Finally, remember one simple rule: cook once, reheat once, then discard any remaining leftovers. This single habit reduces repeated exposure to many of the chemical changes we've discussed throughout this video. Final thoughts. Modern nutrition isn't just about counting calories or increasing protein intake. It's also about understanding how cooking, storage, and reheating influence the foods we eat every day. Science continues to evolve, and researchers are constantly learning more about the relationship between food preparation and long-term health. That doesn't mean we should become afraid of our kitchens. It means we should become more informed. Small changes practiced consistently over many years often have a greater impact than dramatic diets followed for only a few weeks. The next time you open your refrigerator and reach for yesterday's leftovers, take a moment to think about how they were stored and how you're about to reheat them. A simple decision today may help protect your health for years to come. If you found this video helpful, let us know in the comments which food surprised you the most. Was it rice, chicken, spinach, or eggs? Also, tell us if there's another everyday food you'd like us to investigate in a future video. Your suggestions help shape upcoming content and allow us to answer the questions that matter most to you. If you enjoyed this evidence-based breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future videos exploring the science behind nutrition, disease prevention, and healthy living. Remember, knowledge is one of the most powerful tools for protecting your health. Thank you so much for watching. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.